I put all my efforts. I used to train for 7 hours a day. Apart from that, I used to also run here and there to companies, make pitch decks, send them mails and wait at their offices, personally go there, give them the pitch deck. 2019 में I was on Everest for the first time and हम लोग कैंप 2 से कैंप 3 की ओर जा रहे थे. बहुत ही सनी एंड प्लेजेंट डे था, बढ़िया मज़ा आ रहा था. सो मैं फोटोग्राफी वीडियोग्राफी कर रहा था. सो मेरे पास गोप्रो था. आई वॉज होल्डिंग माई गोप्रो एंड शूटिंग एंड सडनली आई हियर दिस क्रैकलिंग साउंड and there is a huge avalanche that comes right in front of me on the Lhotse face. वो आ रहा है और मैं इतना मग्न हो गया वो वीडियो निकालने में कि मैं भूल ही गया कि वो avalanche मेरी तरफ भी आ सकता है, because it was very close. I am looking and I'm like, holy shit, it is coming very close to me. किसी ने सोचा भी नहीं था कि suddenly ऐसा avalanche देखते देखते you will fall in a crevasse, which is the one of the most dangerous things to happen. I personally believe every mountain is difficult. Every mountain has his own doings and when they will turn. I got frostbitten on Kanchenjunga. The weather turned bad severely and after coming back we had to amputate some part of the door. Imagine for the 6-7 months you have been traveling, like wandering in the mountains or in the forest and traveling places, climbing mountains and doing so many things, and suddenly 3 months you are on your bed and you cannot even move. And at that time I think what pushed me more was my mountains, that when I get back on my feet, what am I going to do next?
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Around the World with Rohan. Yes, we are on video now. So if you skipped us on Epilogue Media, not to worry. You can now watch us on YouTube as well also. And you can watch the interviews and the vlogs and the intricate details we try and the nuances we try to share through our podcast through you on video as well. So my name is Rohan and I welcome you all. आज के हमारे गेस्ट क्या कहे इनके बारे में? He is a dear friend of mine. ये हमारे साथ पहले भी एक पॉडकास्ट कर चुके हैं. अगर आपने वो सुना नहीं है तो मैं चाहूँगा कि पहले आप उन्हें सुन लीजिए और फिर ये पॉडकास्ट सुनिए. Because here we will be talking things which he is doing and which he plans to do after what he has achieved in the first podcast. Okay, so that was mainly focused on Everest because he is a mountaineer. He's a Shiv Chhatrapati Shivaji Award Winner, which is the highest award given to a sportsman in Maharashtra. He's a Tenzing Norgay Award winner. He's also been nominated for Padma Shri. He has climbed, and not many people have done this, in India at least, not many people have climbed peaks which are more above 8,000 meter, क्योंकि it's very challenging, बहुत मुश्किल भी होता है. और इन्होंने किया है, इन्होंने 7 पीक अभी तक क्लाइम कर चुके हैं और 8वें के इंतज़ार में है. तो मैंने सोचा 8वां बाद में क्लाइम कर लो, पहले मेरे पॉडकास्ट पे आ जाओ यहाँ पे. बट द मीडिया, आई वाज जस्ट गोइंग थ्रू कपल ऑफ मीडिया इंटरव्यूज जो इनके बारे में लिखा गया, एंड दे से दैट देयर इज दिस माउंटेनियर हु refuse to perish on the mountains. With me is my friend Keval. Keval, thank you so much for coming on our podcast once again.
Thank you so much for calling me.
बड़ी अच्छी बातें लिखे हैं यार तुम्हारे. यहाँ PR है क्या तुम्हारा?
अभी तक तो नहीं है, but I hope एक दिन.
अरे of course. So Keval, I'll come straight to the point. Okay, last time you came, you were one of the very few, or you were one of the only Indians who climbed Everest and Lhotse in a span of 6 days.
6 days, yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Were you the only one?
Yeah, so...
Till now, are you the only one?
No. So I would say, definitely when I did this feat, so there was buzz and news everywhere. And so everybody started, getting up that, okay, now somebody has done it, so we should also try. And after that, I think now it has become the new normal. Like everybody wants to try at least to climb Everest and Lhotse together. So like... Okay. Everybody has this plan and focus now that he has done it, so we can do it. And many people have been successful in doing that. Many people haven't.
Within 6 days?
Less than that, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, definitely, obviously, records are meant to be broken. Right. And when you set up something, but at least you give them a hint that when things are doable, they think and plan in that way. So yeah, I'm really happy that many people are, attempting and open towards doing this and breaking the barriers and breaking their own limits. Correct. That is what mountaineering is about.
Correct. Okay. हाल ही में मैं OTT में एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री देख रहा था और वहाँ पे एक बंदा जो है 14 पीक चढ़ चुका है, 8,000 मीटर के ऊपर वाला. बट हमारे साथ प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमारे साथ जियोपॉलिटिकल इश्यूज हमारे दोनों देशों से चल रहे हैं, विच इज़ चाइना एंड माशाल्लाह पाकिस्तान. तो उसकी वजह से मैक्सिमम पीक्स जो है बाकी के ये इन कंट्रीज़ में, इनके ज्यूरिसडिक्शन में आता है. दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम. और एल्स भाई साहब अभी तक चढ़ जाते थे काफ़ी सारे पीक्स. बट व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन नाउ? ओके, हम ऐसे बात कर रहे हैं जैसे एवरेस्ट जो है ना, हम कलसूबाई या फिर एक छोटा सा कोई हिल मलाबार हिल चढ़ लिया. It's not like that. A lot of mental preparation, physical preparation goes into it, which we will be talking. But Keval, just to brush up people who haven't heard you in our first podcast, just to give them a vague idea, how did it start? मतलब इसकी शुरुआत कैसे हुई थी? आपको माउंटेनियरिंग में इंटरेस्ट कहाँ से आया? यहाँ से शुरुआत करते हैं, फिर मैं एक एक करके आपको सवाल पूछते जाऊँगा.
I would thank my parents for that. Like my parents were the biggest support system, and they introduced me to the nature.
How old were you?
I was 13 years old. I was in my 7th grade, like vacations, and they said, what you will do? And being a 90s kid, there was no Google, and there was no much connectivity, no WhatsApp. So it was fun. That I would say recollecting those days still give me goosebumps. Like we used to play outdoors, and it was fun outdoors. And my dad just one day casually he came and said, now your vacations are gonna start. What you gonna do? So I told him I'll play with my friends and play cricket, badminton, chess, or maybe some video game, because we had Contra, Mario, etc. So those were the golden period. So he said, I have something to offer. From the books you're getting knowledge, but to be a good human being you have to go and connect to nature. That will make you a good human being, and on a long run. So why don't you go on a hike? So I did not know what is a hike, how to do it, and he said nature is the best teacher and it will automatically teach you. You don't have to memorize things कि ये ऐसा होता है वैसा होता है. You just go with the flow, and if the nature accepts you as his own child, he will teach you everything. So I said, oh wow, this sounds so exciting. And the one thing that increased in me was my curiosity. So I started my journey in the Sayadris. I climbed Mount Naneghat, which is a fort. And from there I saw Jivdan Fort right in front of me, and I thought, oh wow, it is so beautiful here. What would lie on the top of Jivdan Fort? So I became more curious, and I said, okay, if something is there, then what? And how does it look beyond the horizon? So that curiosity as a kid kept on increasing, and I think my love grew and my parents supported me throughout. So all credit goes to them.
But I still see that curiosity. Yeah. You're not satisfied. You're not, I'm done with this. Okay, Everest ke baad ye aa gaya. Last we spoke, he had climbed Lhotse and Everest. And since then, he has already climbed 5 more peaks. 5 peaks more than 8,000 meters, which is pretty commendable. The reason we emphasize more on 8,000 meter is because is ऑल्टीट्यूड पे जाके ऑक्सीजन की मात्रा इतनी कम हो जाती है, सांस नहीं ले सकते. और बहुत सारे लोग एक माइलस्टोन रहता है कि मैं 8,000 मीटर के ऊपर वाले पहाड़ी पे चढ़ चुका हूँ. पहले तो पहाड़ियाँ इतनी सारी है नहीं. टोटल कितनी है हमारे पास?
टोटल वी हैव 14,800 मीटर पीक्स.
14,800 मीटर्स है, जिसमें से 7 भाई साहब चढ़ गए हैं. बट हाल ही में इन्होंने बहुत कुछ एक बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त चीज़ की है. ये खुद तो चढ़ चुके हैं एवरेस्ट, लेकिन हाल ही में आप अपने भतीजे को लेके गए थे. ओके, एंड हिज नेफ्यू इज वन ऑफ द यंगेस्ट. He's just 17 and he's one of the youngest person to climb Mount Everest. We are not talking about base camp. We are talking about the summit. How high is the summit? How many meters?
So the summit is 8848.48 meters. So above sea level. That is approximately 29,070 feet.
How did you do? It's a different thing when you have to climb, and it's a different thing altogether when you have to make sure someone else climbs, and someone as young as your, और personal relation में आप देख सकते हैं, आप ज़्यादा ज़बरदस्ती भी नहीं कर सकते. और आप पूरा फिल्म भी करके आ रहे थे. आप मल्टीटास्किंग कर रहे थे एवरेस्ट के ऊपर. ये कैसे कर पाए आप, बताइए.
I think my nephew has been with me since a long time when he was very young. And he understands adventure very well. And last year in 2022, he came with me on a trek to Everest Base Camp. So I have my own company and I organize treks. So he came with me and he just asked me, Mama, how does it feel to be on the top of the world? So I said that, I cannot express in words, but to feel that you have to be there. And that journey is the expression. It's not just that 27 minutes or 30 minutes spent on the top. It is that journey, the transformation that will make you reach there. That is important, and that is the expression. So he said, okay. And, he was studying and he has his boards this year. And in December, suddenly he calls me up that, Mama, I am all set and I want to climb Mount Everest. And I thought, okay, this may be like, a fever, 2-3 days may he will forget things. And he started training. I started guiding him and everything. And then in the month of February, my sister and Jijaji came and they said, no, we want to make him climb. Like, are you willing to take him along? And I said, wow, This is something because I've already climbed Everest once and going back again. So I thought, okay, why not make this an experience for the audience and film this. So I wanted to show the people how beautiful it is and how beyond imagination nature has created something like Everest. So yeah, I was with him and he has his own challenges, ups and downs. In fact, while coming down, he suffered from frost nip, which is cured now. But because of the cold and the chilblain, he had frost nip. And he's been really strong, because this year on Everest was the most deadliest season where 20 people died. So in the history of Everest, the most deadliest season. And he's there. And we trained him for winter expeditions and everything, but still it is very different when you're on a mountain which is above 8,000 meters with the oxygen, you being using it for the first time. And he was absolutely like very natural, and he was very disciplined and obedient. So whatever I told him, he followed that. And I am I'm really happy that we would get future mountaineers like him. So definitely rooting for him, and I hope that he climbs more and more. So
perfect. तो quickly जल्दी से बताइए, लोत्से और एवरेस्ट के बाद उसके अलावा आप कौन से शिखर तक पहुंचे हैं?
So लोत्से और एवरेस्ट के बाद I did Mount Annapurna, which is the 10th highest mountain in the world and the world's most dangerous mountain. It is termed as the most deadliest mountain, and deadliest for sure, because every second you hear an avalanche and you're terrified, and massive avalanches. When I was climbing up to Camp 3, and there was one avalanche around 20 feet near it passed, and it was a massive avalanche, huge avalanche. So definitely it is one of the most dangerous mountain, but I was happy that I made it to the summit on my very first attempt, and it was the best season of that time. So I was really happy for others also, they made it there successfully. Then I climbed Mount Dhaulagiri. Mount Dhaulagiri, again, it is known as the snow mountain. So a very difficult mountain to climb because it is covered with snow most of the time. And in fact, in 2022, when we climbed it, we summited on the 9th of April, which was very early, because usually they summit in May. So we got a good summit very early, and we were very happy that the mountain welcomed us really well. After that, I climbed Mount Makalu, which is the 5th highest mountain in the world. And Mount Makalu this year, after I made my nephew summit Everest, we came down and he turned back home for his treatments and just going back. And I had some time, so I said what to do. So then somehow or the other I managed the permits and I submitted Mount Makalu within 3 days. So I went, I climbed and I came back because I was already acclimatized. So Mount Makalu and Kanchenjunga I tried last year, but 100 meters below the summit the weather turned back and we had to turn back because of the bad weather. So I said if you live today you can climb 10 more mountains tomorrow, so you have to be taking such brave decisions. So then I decided, okay, it's time to turn back, we'll come back again. So next year hopefully Kanchenjunga will be the 8th 8000er and the last one in the Nepal region.
परफेक्ट. हम जितने आसानी से बात कर रहे हैं कि आपने it's sounding like walk in the park, which it isn't. So quickly now I'll come to you. I'm going to ask you, how do you plan, before going to, because there are a lot of future mountaineers and trekkers watching this show, listening to this podcast. So how do you plan your whole journey? किस तरह से plan करते हैं आप?
The first thing is important how you select your mountain. Because every mountain has a difficulty, every mountain has a different level of crux. Crux is the word that we climbers use for difficulty. So first you understand the mountain. Today with the help of internet there is so much data available. You just need to type the name and search the route and you'll find a whole map with the drawings and everything. So there are so many data available. So you first make a study of the mountain which you want to go. Based on that you start training and focus on your weaknesses and your strengths. Suppose some mountains like Kanchenjunga for example, on the summit push the last summit patch is very long as compared to all the 8000ers and there are lots of rocky sections on the last part. So you have to have good command over rock climbing and ice. So that is basically mixed climbing. So you have to focus on that areas as well, and long endurance walk. So because on the summit of Kanchenjunga, it starts from Camp 4 to the summit, it sometimes takes 16 hours to 20 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a very long period. And with that, you have to manage your oxygen supplies because you cannot carry more. So you have to increase your speeds to cover this distance so that time is reduced and your safety is increased in that way. So to do that, you have to have good endurance. So that is how you plan things, and then you make a like a schedule how to increase your endurance and how to go about it. So then I make a like small thing that I include running, cycling, swimming. Then I love staircase climbing, so I add weight and I do staircase climbing, etc. So that's how I make my training schedule, and then I go about it.
So if one needs to start training to climb a mountain, not as high as Everest, but basic mountains, what sort of training और क्या करना चाहिए, कितने मिनट करना चाहिए, या फिर कितने miles या कितने किलोमीटर करना चाहिए?
I would say, when I started mountaineering, I took it as my lifestyle. So I did not want just to, train for a specific mountain. Or I personally believe every mountain is difficult. Every mountain has his own doings. And when they will turn, like, so for example, in Uttarakhand, there was an accident where 27 mountaineers perished during a training program. So they were doing a mountaineering course, and suddenly there was an avalanche and it swept away 27 mountaineers, which was the worst tragic accident ever happened in the mountaineering fraternity. So something like this, is like very sad. But if you are even well prepared, you cannot fight against the forces of nature. So for that, I tell people that there are many things. So whenever you get time, you study the weather, you study the conditions, like, when is a good condition to go in a mountain, different seasons, like winter season is the most harsh season. So then you make a schedule as per that suppose if you have to go on a winter ascent, then you have to be very careful and what things you have to take in mind and take care of it. So then these are certain factors that play a role.
Do you run? Like how many kilometers do you run?
So I run, like, I start from like 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers. Then I go to 10, 15, gradually. You do not run immediately. So you have to break it, and your body also needs time to recover. So a maximum what I've ran is around 80, 90 kilometers.
Do you do marathons?
Yeah, I do marathons.
Do marathons?
Yeah.
नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट चलो मेरी जितनी ख्वाहिशें थी ना, मैंने सोचा मैं मैराथन एक दिन पाऊंगा. मैं अपने बकेट लिस्ट में लिख चुका हूँ. वो बकेट लिस्ट का मैराथन ना, पहले वो 42 किलोमीटर्स हुआ, फिर मैंने कहा मैं पहले हाफ मैराथन कर रहा था 21, अभी वो 10 किलोमीटर्स पे है. और कल जो मैं किसी को कह रहा था कि कल मैं 3 किलोमीटर दौड़ लगाई मैंने, और मैंने कहा भाई साहब घुटने दर्द दे रहे हैं मेरे. बट यस, एज यू सेड दैट मेक इट अ लाइफस्टाइल, दैट विल रियली हेल्प यू ऑन एवरीडे बेसिस, क्योंकि फिर जिम, रनिंग वो बड़ा बोरिंग हो जाता है सब कुछ. Absolutely. Mental, they always say mind over body. Body comes secondary, but it's how do you make yourself so strong in order to climb? Because climb is not easy, and every step you have to push yourself. You're a professional climber now, but you still remember the first time you climbed, okay? कैसे यार mentally इतना, और कहते हैं कि जो mentally strong है ना, वो कुछ भी चढ़ जाएगा, कहीं पे भी चढ़ जाएगा. तो वो मेंटली स्ट्रांग इंसान को कैसे बनाते हैं? Absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Because in the mountains, see, okay, physically you're doing so many things which are challenging. Like you're facing high winds, you're struggling with sub-zero temperatures and lots of things going on. But mentally, one thing, very less connectivity, so you're homesick, you're not able to talk to your loved ones or your family. So somewhere or the other, you need that motivation. I tell people that, oneself is one's biggest motivation. So once you accept that fact, once you are at that level of acceptance, it helps you mentally. So I do lots of meditation. One thing, to connect with myself, because at the end of the day, it comes from inside. So I have to, when I'm in the nature, the best part is there is no network, there is no cell phone. So I'm connected to myself. I know my potentials, and as if I'm speaking to myself and understanding my body better. So you have to understand and connect with yourself. That helps mental peace also, and it gives you a clarity, and also it makes you so calm that in situations like this, we call it a crisis situation, when there is lots of panic happening and people are haywire, what to do, what not, you are composed and you are just focused on what to do next. So that clarity of thought comes from this. So I think meditation has helped me a lot with this. And along with that, I have learned from the mountains to be, patient and just like let it be. So acceptance is very important. So mentally,
Like last year, I got frostbitten on Kanchenjunga. The weather turned bad severely.
Where you are?
It's on my toe. And after coming back, we had to ampute some part of the toe. Not the complete toe, but right toe from the nail bed part we had to amputate. And I was bedridden for 3 months. Even to go to the washroom, I had to take support. Imagine for the 6-7 months you have been traveling, like wandering in the mountains or in the forest, and traveling places, climbing mountains and doing so many things, and suddenly 3 months you are on your bed and you cannot even move because stitches were there, and they were plastered to protect it. So I couldn't keep my feet down, so I had to take support from my parents and everything. And at that time, I think what pushed me more was my mountains, that when I get back on my feet, what am I going to do next? How am I going to do next? Is there some better way that I can climb much more better and efficiently? And how can, I avoid such things that happened? The injuries, how can they be avoided? So I started doing researches and thinking about that. And I didn't even come to know when 3 months passed by.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, mentally, you have to train yourself really well. It will take some time. It is not easy. It's a very difficult process, because I personally believe the most complicated part of the body is the mind. And to fight with it and to, accomplish that comradeship with the mind where, you align it with your thoughts. So that's important. And I think mountains have taught me that very well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's not at the same time while we are talking about mountaineering, मैं हमारे सुनने वालों को ये भी बता दूं कि mountaineering and trekking is not inexpensive affair. It is very expensive. तो शौक ठीक है, शौक तो सबको होते हैं ना भाई, but arrangement आपके जो how do you get sponsors, how do you get your funds in order to climb, और ये कैसे होता है? बिकॉज अपनी जेब से तो इतनी बड़ी रकम तो हम बहुत सारे लोग नहीं डालते हैं, स्पॉन्सरशिप्स के लिए जाते हैं. हाउ टू क्रैक दिस स्पॉन्सरशिप, हुम टू अप्रोच, और कौन से पीक को कितना लगता है? इफ आई मे आस्क यू, सबसे महंगा पीक कौन सा है? चढ़ने में कितने पैसे लग जाते हैं?
डेफिनेटली माउंटेनियरिंग कॉस्ट अ लॉट, बिकॉज द इक्विपमेंट्स जो हम लोग यूज़ करते हैं वो इतने रिसर्च के बाद बनते हैं, एंड ज़्यादातर इक्विपमेंट्स फॉरेन कंट्रीज़ में बनते हैं. सो से फ्रांस है या इटली है. सो इवन एक 8000 मीटर का क्लाइंबिंग बूट है, वो 80,000 से 90,000 रुपया कॉस्ट करता है. फॉर क्लाइंबिंग माउंट एवरेस्ट जो उसकी परमिट कॉस्ट है, दैट इज़ अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 8 to 9 लाख रुपीज़.
तो चढ़ने में कितना लग जाता है? 25 से 30 लाख?
या अप्रॉक्सीमेटली.
और ये बेसिक कॉस्ट है?
बेसिक कॉस्ट,
ये करोड़ों तक जाता है.
या सो $11,000 नेपाल गवर्नमेंट या फिर तिब्बत गवर्नमेंट आपसे रॉयल्टी फीस चार्ज करती है जस्ट टू क्लाइंब दैट माउंटेन. और उसके अलावा द अदर कॉस्ट इन्वॉल्व, लाइक आपके शेरपा का कॉस्ट, देन योर लॉजिस्टिक्स, योर ट्रैवल, योर स्टे एंड एवरीथिंग. सो ये सब मिला के 25 से 30 लाख रुपया.
ये चढ़ो या ना चढ़ो?
या
मतलब आप
एक बार आपने एनरोल कर दिया तो आपको इतना पे करना ही है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस बहुत सारे माउंटेन्स है, जैसे एंटार्क्टिका में विंसन मैसिव है. सो पीपल जो लोग 7 समिट्स कर रहे हैं, 7 कॉन्टिनेंट के हाईएस्ट माउंटेन्स क्लाइंब करते हैं. सो एंटार्क्टिका में अगर आपको क्लाइंब करना हो तो बहुत ज़्यादा लॉजिस्टिक्स लगते हैं. जो एंटार्क्टिका का विंसन मैसिव है, इट इज़ नॉट दैट हाई एज एवरेस्ट, बट इट कॉस्ट अराउंड 40 to 45 लाख रुपीज़ टू क्लाइंब दैट, बिकॉज ऑफ बीइंग वेरी स्केर्ड प्लेस में, एंड वहाँ पे लॉजिस्टिक्स इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट. या सो
I didn't know you could climb in Antarctica. I didn't know this. Yeah. Logistically, so it must be insane.
Yeah. So Vincent Massive.
How about Annapurna?
Annapurna, yeah, definitely. You need a good team, rope fixing वगैरह करने के लिए, because the safety lines is important, because you are doing multiple rotations on the mountain. So every time if you climb, you will get exhausted fast. And that style of climbing, which we call alpinism, is something which will be for pro climbers, but for climbers like me or beginners and medium level climbers, it becomes very exhausting. So we have fixed lines for safety, so that even we make a mistake, at least we have a lifeline, we are stuck to it as a safety line. Yeah, so Annapurna would cost somewhat around say 20 to 25 lakh rupees.
Okay, but
the whole cost.
It's not in India, is it?
No, it's in Nepal, definitely. It's on the borders of India and Nepal. But
Kanchenjunga is in India.
Yeah, Kanchenjunga.
And Karakoram, K2 is in Pakistan.
Yeah, K2 is in Pakistan occupied Kashmir.
Got it. How is it climbing Indian mountains? How, अगर हम royalty निकाल दे, उसके permissions के पैसे निकाल दे, तो Indian mountains चढ़ना कितना महंगा होता है?
Indian mountains like now, as I say, we have like from 5,000 meter, 6,000 meter peaks to 7,000 meter peaks.
Let's say Kanchenjunga.
For Kanchenjunga, unfortunately, we cannot climb it from India because it has been declared as a holy mountain. So you do not get permits to climb from India. It can only be climbed from Nepal. And for that, they charge around $1,800 is the royalty fees. Apart from that, approximately 15 से 20 लाख रुपए expense हो जाता है कंचनजंगा climb करने का.
माउंट एवरेस्ट भी आप तिब्बत से क्लाइम कर सकते हैं, right?
Yeah, so it can be climbed from Nepal also, the south side, and it can be climbed from north side, that is Tibet.
ओके. बहुत सारे लोगों को पता नहीं होगा जो लुकला एयरपोर्ट से, यहाँ से काठमांडू से आप लुकला जाते हो, लुकला से जो है 9 दिन का ट्रैक करके आप बेस कैंप पहुँचते हो एवरेस्ट अगर आपको जाना है तो. लेकिन अगर आप वही तिब्बत की तरफ से जाए तो आप सीधा गाड़ी लेके बेस कैंप पे चले जा सकते हो. करेक्ट?
यस, एब्सोल्युटली.
वहाँ से उनकी ट्रैक, लेकिन मैंने सुना है कि ढलान जो है काफ़ी एकदम स्लीप है, एकदम स्टीप ढलान है और चढ़ने में काफ़ी दिक्कत हो जाती है तिब्बत की तरफ से.
या सो आपका एडवांस कैंप लगता है विच इज़ अराउंड 21 किलोमीटर्स अवे फ्रॉम बेस कैंप. तो वो आपको हाइक करके ही जाना है.
Correct.
वो एडवांस बेस कैंप के बाद कैंप 1, कैंप 2 इट्स लाइक आइस वॉल वेर यू आर लाइक प्रॉपरली टेक्निकली क्लाइंबिंग. एंड एज पर द पॉलिसीज तिब्बत में हेलीकॉप्टर रेस्क्यूज अवेलेबल नहीं है. सो अगर आप कहीं भी फंस जाते हो या कुछ भी अगर आपको डिफ़िकल्टी होती है तो आपको ऑन फुट ही वापस आना है. जबकि नेपाल में एटलीस्ट आपको ये एक सुविधा है कि अगर आप कहीं फंस गए या आपको कुछ बीमारी है या इंजरी है कि मान लो आपका पैर टूट गया या सम सीरियस इंजरी, एटलीस्ट हेलीकॉप्टर का एक सहारा होता है कि आपको एक हेलीकॉप्टर मिल जाएगा विद इन सम टाइम एंड दे विल सेव योर लाइफ एंड यू विल बी इन द हॉस्पिटल. इमीडिएट ट्रीटमेंट हो जाएगी. सो वहाँ पे फ्रीक्वेंसी ज़्यादा है बट ड्यू टू द सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज वहाँ पे नहीं है. सो देयर इज दिस ह्यूज डिफरेंस ऑफ सेफ्टी.
नेपाल की तरफ से जो है काफ़ी कमर्शियल अभी ये प्रस्ताव. ऐसी मजाक में किसी ने मीम भेजा था, सेकंड कैंप 2 पे कोई नूडल्स भेज रहा है वहाँ पे बना के. बट ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. सो नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट सेफ्टी, नाउ दैट वी स्पोक अबाउट द फंड्स एंड हाउ डू यू, स्पॉन्सर्स को कैसे हम आप रीच आउट कैसे करते हो?
It's very difficult basically. If I would say when I did my first 8,000 2017 में I got rejected by 182 sponsors.
182.
Yeah. I went to most of the companies and it was my just start in the 8,000 meters and it was a big amount to arrange. And
how much was the amount?
The amount was 12 lakh rupees.
12 lakh rupees.
Yeah, with the gear and everything. And to arrange that amount, some money I had from my savings, but still I needed a very big amount. And like from being from a middle class family person, I put all my efforts. I used to train for 7 hours a day. Apart from that, I used to also run here and there to companies, make pitch decks, send them mails and wait at their offices, personally go there, give them the pitch deck. And
pitch deck में क्या क्या होता है?
So basically pitch deck में about what have I climbed previously, what I have done as part of my training, what I will be doing as climbing 8,000 meter peak, suppose what is my project about and how it will help etc and everything. So pitch deck में वो सब details आप डाल दो तो उनको idea आ जाएगा sponsors को कि okay where can we fit. और आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 2017 जबकि यहाँ पे सोशल मीडिया पे इतना मार्केटिंग नहीं होता था या इट वॉज नॉट दैट फास्ट which has taken like now.
Correct.
Yeah. So reels वगैरह नहीं थे. So you have to
लेकिन फर्ज कीजिए अभी मैं ब्रांड हूँ, आप मेरे पास आते हैं तो आपने फलाना XYZ अमाउंट की मुझे ये कहा पिच डेक दिया. पिच डेक इज नथिंग बट प्रपोजल. एक आपने प्रेजेंटेशन बना के दे दिया और उसके बाद फिर मेरा ROI क्या होता है? सामने वाला ब्रांड रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट क्या देखता है आप में?
So basically कोई भी ब्रांड हो,
ये सारे माउंटेनियर्स के लिए तो प्लीज आप ध्यान से सुनिएगा.
So basically brands allot a certain budget जिसको हम बोलते हैं एडवर्टीजमेंट बजट.
ओके.
सो उनका ब्रांड एंडोर्स करने के लिए, उनका ब्रांड प्रमोट करने के लिए सर्टन बजट अलॉटेड होता है. ओके. आउट ऑफ दैट बजट दे डिसाइड कि वो किस फील्ड में देना है. अब जैसे कि आप मान लो कि कोई प्रोटीन बार है. सो अ प्रोटीन बार इज वेरी कॉमनली यूज्ड इन मल्टीपल स्पोर्ट्स बट अगर उसका मैं माउंटेन में यूसेज दिखा दूं कि सबसे ज़्यादा माउंटेन में वो काम आया तो डेफिनेटली द लेवल ऑफ यूसेज बिकम्स हाई. So suppose you are a company of protein bars, I can say I am biting a protein bar on the top of Everest and that is fueling my energy. Because of the protein bar, I could reach here. So the brand value automatically increases.
Okay.
So if they understand and if you are able to convince them that your project will increase their publicity also and it will give them a right platform, then definitely they will be interested to support you and to promote you.
the platform is very important.
Very important, yeah. And not completely, but they might partially support you. कि भले आपका अगर बजट, मान लो कि आपका एक्सपीडिशन 20 लाख का है, तो हम इतना तो नहीं दे पाएंगे, बट हमारा बजट है 3 लाख, तो हम उसमें आपको दे देंगे. एंड वॉट एवर डिलीवरेबल्स यू कैन गिव इट टू देम, यू कैन मेक एन म्यूचुअल एग्रीमेंट. एंड आजकल मेजोरिटी कंपनी के पास स्ट्रेटेजिक टीम होती है, या ब्रांड स्ट्रेटेजीज दे डिसाइड. सो यू कैन सिट विद देम, थिंक सम क्रिएटिव आइडियाज एंड वर्क इट आउट, एंड देन you can give the deliverables to them so that they are also benefited and you are also supported and benefited from them.
करेक्ट. लेकिन अभी तो हाल फिलहाल में तो अभी आसान हो गया होगा विद द राइजिंग सोशल मीडिया और इतने सारे
डेफिनेटली
इट्स ईजियर, क्योंकि प्लेटफॉर्म बहुत सारे हो गए हैं. मैं आपको ये भी बता दूं कि केवल इज वन ऑफ द वेरी फ्यू, ही इज अ माउंटेनियर बट ही इज ऑल्सो अ फिल्म मेकर, एंड वेरी फ्यू पीपल, परहैप्स I can't think of anyone right now other than Keval, who has filmed Mount Everest from base camp to summit. ये जो जर्नी होती है ना, बेस कैंप टू समिट, ये मतलब नीचे आए और चलो लगा लो, ऐसा नहीं होता है. एक्लिमेटाइज होने को ये कम से कम 15 से 16 दिन का ट्रैक होता है. ऊपर जाते हैं कैंप 1, 2 में रह के फिर वापस आते हैं. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, बैटरीज ड्रेन आउट हो जाती है. जितनी ठंड में आप बैटरीज ले गए, तो मुझे याद है मैं मोजे में लेके जाता था, वो पूरी तरह से ड्रेन आउट हो जाती थी, तो हम शूटिंग नहीं कर सकते इतने दिन के लिए यहाँ पे. लेकिन केवल भाई साहब ने कुछ चक्कर चलाए, कस्टमाइज चार्जर बनाया सोलर पैनल के थ्रू, और यू आर वन ऑफ द वेरी फ्यू पीपल हु हैव एक्चुअली फिल्म द एंटायर जर्नी. पूरे 15-16 दिन आपने शूट किया है.
So we were shooting every day because as I said, it keeps on changing. बहुत changes आ रहे थे, weather change हो रहा था, snowfall हो रहा है, कभी snowstorm आ रहा है, and कभी bright sunny day. So you rarely see that sun flare and everything. So बहुत प्रिटी शॉट्स मिल रहे थे. सो बहुत सारे टाइम लैप्सेस लिए हमने. सो बहुत बार ऐसा होता था कि हम लोग बेस कैंप पे, हमारा रेस्ट टाइम है, बट आज लग रहा है कि यार गोल्डन आवर मिलेगा, और दैट लास्ट रेज ऑन द माउंटेन जब जाती है गोल्डन वे, सो यू जस्ट सिट एंड यू शूट दैट. एंड बहुत बार स्टार ट्रेल्स और ये कैप्चर करने के लिए हमने कम से कम पूरी रात बाहर ठंड में ऐसे ही बैठे थे, एक गर्म कप ऑफ कॉफ़ी लेके और स्लीपिंग बैग के अंदर ओढ़ के कैमरा लगा दिया एंड बैठ के बस ऑब्जर्व कर रहे, ताकि कुछ विंड से मूवमेंट ना हो या कैमरा मूव ना हो या शेक ना हो. सो अमेजिंग टाइम, आई वुड से दैट. विथ रिगार्ड्स टू फिल्मिंग, मुझे नेचर के साथ इतना मौका मिला टाइम स्पेंड करने का, एंड सी दिस रॉ ब्यूटी. वरना जब हम क्लाइंब कर रहे थे, वी फोकस ऑन कि भाई टेंट में जाना है, रेस्ट करना है, एनर्जी सेव करनी है, वापस क्लाइंब करना है. सो यू आर फोकस्ड ऑन दैट, बट यू आर फिल्मिंग, यू सी ऑल दिस एस्पेक्ट्स एंड एलिमेंट्स एंड यू आर अमेज्ड, वाओ ये मैंने अब तक क्यों नहीं देखा. सो एक प्रयास है कि जो ऑडियंस है वो भी देख पाए कि अगर वो लाइफ में कभी एवरेस्ट ना जा पाए या उनका गोल ना हो, बट एटलीस्ट वो देख तो पाए कि हाउ ब्यूटीफुल दिस अर्थ इज एंड व्हाट मैग्निफिसेंट स्ट्रक्चर्स एंड एवरीथिंग वी हैव. सो
नॉर्दर्न लाइट्स दिखते हैं एवरेस्ट से?
Not exactly northern lights, but yeah, super Milky Way and shooting stars. Yeah, we saw like hundreds and hundreds of shooting stars. We have captured it एक time lapse में, so we can see like lines going here and there. Amazing.
मुझे याद है when I was in Norway, we went filming northern lights. वो भी इसी तरह से आधे बर्फ में कपड़े पहन के. And let me tell you, if you're inside a shelter जहाँ से आप आराम से देख सकते हैं, amazing. But बाहर जाना it's not a very pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But अभी ये आसमान जो भी है, it's very risky climbing a mountain because you don't know how they are going to react. Climatic conditions क्या हो गया, avalanche वगैरह होते हैं. तो safety आपका risk management कैसे रहता है? And if you have come across ऐसी कोई किस्सा हो आपका, तो ज़रूर हमारे साथ शेयर कीजिएगा कि आपको रियलाइज़ हुआ कि भाई साहब ये तो लंबा फंस गया मैं, ये माउंटेन तो जहरीला है.
See, obviously जब मैंने एज आई सेड माउंटेनियरिंग स्टार्ट की, सो वी नो द पार्ट एंड पार्सल्स कि क्या एलिमेंट्स हो सकते हैं जो डेंजरस होंगे, उसको कैसे नेगोशिएट करना है, कैसे ओवरकम करना है. डेफिनेटली. सो आई रिमेंबर 2019 में आई वॉज ऑन एवरेस्ट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, एंड हम लोग कैंप 2 से कैंप 3 की ओर जा रहे थे. बहुत ही सनी एंड प्लेजेंट डे था, बढ़िया मज़ा आ रहा था. सो मैं फोटोग्राफी वीडियोग्राफी कर रहा था. सो मेरे पास गोप्रो था, आई वॉज होल्डिंग माई गोप्रो एंड शूटिंग, एंड सडनली आई हियर दिस क्रैकलिंग साउंड and there is a huge avalanche that comes right in front of me on the Lhotse face. वो आ रहा है और मैं इतना मग्न हो गया वो वीडियो निकालने में कि मैं भूल ही गया कि वो avalanche मेरी तरफ भी आ सकता है, because it was very close. I am looking and I'm like, holy shit, it is coming very close to me. So मैं just थोड़ा साइड में भागने गया, and there are many hidden crevasses there, and I pumped and fell into the hidden crevasse. But I was always alert and ready. So मेरे एक हाथ में ice axe था. I anchored myself, tumbled, and I came out of that hidden crevasse. And again I took a proper stand, and then वापस मैं probing करते करते अपने rope तक पहुँच गया. And by the time the avalanche passed, so I have a video of that. I posted it on Instagram, and I remember. So that time it was like किसी ने सोचा भी नहीं था कि suddenly ऐसा avalanche देखते देखते you will fall in a crevasse, which is the one of the most dangerous things to happen. But that habit, I would say, of being extra cautious and prepared always saved me, and I survived. Same thing happened this year. So my nephew, वो मेरे आगे कुंभू आइस फॉल में चल रहे थे, so which is the most dangerous section on the Everest trail from the south side. And sudden I am very observant, so मैंने crackling sound सुना. So I was trying to locate ये कहाँ पे है, and my nephew was right ahead of me. I was walking behind him to see he's okay, and then I hear this crackling sound. I see something moving behind him. So I jumped, I ran, and I pushed him, and I also pushed myself on him. No, not on a ladder, but we were between the ice ka blocks, and 3 Sherpas had died 10 days before when we had entered that. In that section only, in that region. So we were there. And when I heard this, I immediately thought of it, and my instinct made me work, and I pushed him, and an ice fall collapsed right behind us. So we were safe, and my nephew was a bit shocked because it was for his first time, he saw something like this, and he's like, and I just hugged him and I said, don't worry, I'm there. So I think, some of these experiences that you have prior helps you a lot, and the more and more you make this like a journey thing and you learn from it, then it helps you to grow as a mountaineer. So I think the more time that I spend in the mountains have taught me many things, and I have come across avalanches on Annapurna, crevasses on Everest, and while crossing a ladder this year while filming, so one ladder जब हम गए तो एक ही ladder थी, suddenly the crevasse opened and वो 2 हो गई, and by the time we came back वो 3 हो गई. So when you're walking on stacked 3 ladders, it wobbles a lot. So you have to balance, and you're carrying all your gear and everything. So you have to balance. So yeah, definitely, it was fun, but at the same time, like we were sweating in the middle of ice, and we were like, again we have to cross, और ये 4 ना हो जाए या 5 ना हो जाए. So it was amazing, like बहुत मज़ा भी आ रहा था, but at the same time safety के point of view से डर भी लग रहा था यार, अगर ये crevasse और बड़ा हो गया तो क्या, इसका alternative क्या, safety measure क्या. So yeah,
so safety comes first.
Yeah, definitely.
अच्छा, मुझे एक बात बता कि इंडिया में ना बहुत सारे I was very recently skiing in Oli.
Yeah.
It's in Uttarakhand.
Yeah.
तो Oli में जब आप जाते हो ना ऊपर, तो सामने आपको नंदा देवी, वो 3-4 जो नंदा देवी दिखेंगे, और वहाँ पे कहते हैं कि आप चढ़ नहीं सकते. पहले किसी ज़माने में चढ़ते थे,
राइट,
और चढ़ नहीं सकते. मैं ये भी जानना चाहता हूँ कि आपने क्या नंदा देवी का ये क्या किस्सा है, ये आपको पता है? और दूसरा है कि माउंट कैलाश इज़ ऑल्सो सम वेरी सीक्रेट माउंटेन्स फॉर अस, बट देन दे ऑल्सो से दैट देयर इज़, नाउ दैट यू आर अ माउंटेनियर, मैंने सोचा पूछ लूँ क्या, जितना आपको पता है बता दीजिए मुझे, क्या है इसके पीछे रहस्य?
So talking about Nanda Devi, so right now, since past few years, like more than 50 years now, you're not been given permission to climb Nanda Devi main. So Nanda Devi has 2 summits. One is Nanda Devi East and one is Nanda Devi main. So main पे जाने की permission नहीं है, but Nanda Devi East you can climb. So many climbers have climbed Nanda Devi East, which is lower. It is around 8,418 meters in height. It is around 7,418 meters in altitude, and 4 camps लगते हैं. So you climb the Longstaff Col, you pitch camp 1, and it's a knife edge kind of a ridge जहाँ पे सिर्फ 2 टेंट लग सकते हैं. यहाँ भी वैली है, यहाँ भी वैली है. It's a sheer drop. So it's one of the most challenging. In fact, जब तेंजिंग नोर्गे से पूछा गया था कि आप जब उन्होंने एवरेस्ट क्लाइम किया, उसके बाद उन्होंने नंदा देवी भी अटेम्प्ट किया था. तो सबसे टफेस्ट माउंटेन कौन सा रहा आपको क्लाइम करने के लिए? तो उन्होंने बोला नंदा देवी, बिकॉज उसके जो फीचर्स है, they are very technical and sharp, and it's very challenging. It's a mixture of rock, ice and everything. So yeah, and yeah, many years ago, so there was a team of Indian mountaineers and the army and some foreign climbers and army men who were going to place a uranium bomb on the top, so that in case of war between other countries, this is the highest point, from there we can defend and we can do this. But while doing that there was a bad snowstorm, and the team had to retreat. So what they did was, instead of carrying it back with them to base camp, they like in a crevasse, they with the ice screws and everything, they placed it there so that, and they well marked it and everything, कि जब हम वापस आएंगे हमको ये मिल जाएगा यहाँ पे intact होके. So snowstorm pass हो गया and everything, and वो लोग वापस गए, but they couldn't find it. And it keeps on moving, the glacier keeps on shifting, so somewhere or the glacier it shifted and it went, and till date abhi tak wo nahi mila hai. So that is why it was said that we are sitting on a ticking bomb, and बहुत सारी team गई इसको ढूंढने के लिए, but मिल नहीं पाया. So then finally they gave up and it was closed for other mountaineers, so that accidentally also if they damage the vessel and it leaks, so it could create a huge problem for the water bodies and the supplies. And talking about Kailash, I have read lots of books on Kailash. Many mountaineers, like there was a Russian team, there was an Italian team who tried to climb Kailash, but somewhere or the other, their experiences, what I read, were like out of the blues. We never heard of something like that.
For example?
Like they were near the summit, around 100-150 meters from the summit, and suddenly it was a very good and a nice weather, clear skies, and suddenly there were clouds everywhere. They couldn't see the top, and there was a wind which was obstructing them, so they couldn't move ahead. And that is how they described that, we tried with all our forces to move ahead, but the wind kept getting stronger and did not allow us to conquer it. And then we turned around. That was the most what word did they use? They used some word. That was the most decision of our life, some word that we took, and I'm happy that I'm alive to share this experience. So yeah, lots of books on that where you can read different stories. And then finally the government realized that, okay, there is something different about this mountain and holy aspect also. So we will not give permits for climbers to climb this mountain, and it was declared a holy mountain. So pilgrims now also, they do the parikrama, and many people say that there is an Ashtapad which very few people can see, and there are lots of things happening near Kailash which are mysterious. Like if my nail, suppose they grow at a certain like say certain in 1 week, if I am near Kailash, it will grow in half that time. So your hair and your nails, the aging is rapid. So if a person staying near Kailash, if you look at him, he is 80 years old, he will look something more than 90 plus. Or if he is 60, he will look something more than 80 plus. So that aging is more, faster. So don't know what, but that is how it is.
I'm not saying anything. He's okay, great. So now coming back to your mountaineering experience, so many things I want to ask you now, but we have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you that now you have your own company where you arrange treks and mountaineering expeditions, and you mentor also a lot of athletes and film stars right now. So what's the community like, and if someone wants to be a part of this community, क्या करना चाहिए, कौन सी वेबसाइट है, कंपनी का नाम क्या है, थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में बता दीजिए.
So definitely, after climbing so many years, I have made a module.
उसने बोला भाई पैसा तो रिकवर कर लूँ कहीं से.
पैसा is secondary, but see, when you know कि क्या wrong हो सकता है, and when you can save somebody, it's the biggest thing. On a mountain we say that, life is precious, because अगर आप पहाड़ों पे मर भी रहे हो ना, आप करोड़ों रुपया दे दो, पर जब तक वो पर्सन नहीं चाहेगा वो कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा. So in the mountains we say money is secondary. What is important is that camaraderie and that willingness to do something for somebody. और वो कब होगा, जब आप खुद फिट हो गए और कुछ कर पाओगे तब होगा. So उसके लिए I train people. So Beyond Altitude is my company name, and we are based in Mumbai. We have an office here in Mumbai.
Are you on social media?
Yeah, we are on social media. We are on Instagram also, and we are on Facebook. We have our own website, beyondaltitudes.com, where we place different treks and schedules where we take people.
Okay.
And basic thing is to introduce them to the nature, but along with that, we are making them like prepare for the worst come worst scenario, what to do and how to do.
Got it.
Yeah, and we do lots of training sessions here in the Sahyadris as well, the Western Ghats. We are blessed with so many mountains, like Kalsuba you mentioned prior. Then there is Alang Madan Kulang, different forts where you can train. Alang Madan Kulang. So it is one of the toughest treks in the Sahyadris. It's a mixture of hiking and rock climbing and many things.
Okay.
Yeah. So we train there, and also I have seen this that there is a need to preserve these mountains, the Sahyadri range and the Himalayas. So we invite such people who are willing enough to join us, and we do cleanup camps. So whatever plastic waste is left behind, we bring it down.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is an initiative which we will be doing on a larger scale now. And also I train people like how to select your first mountain, how to select your first trek, how to prepare for it, what gear you should select, and what season should you go in. So that plays a big factor and a big role, because see, if I directly attempt something which is very difficult, my morale will be down and I'll be like, भाई first time the last time, next time तो मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा. वो अपने आप ही मेरे को demotivate कर देगा. But अगर imagine करो कि भले आपने एक छोटा mountain climb किया, but वो एक achievement है कि मैंने किया, मेरे दम पे किया. So भले वो start छोटे से होता है and then it ends up somewhere like how I did. So I started from Sahyadris, I did lots of treks, and today I've done more than 90 Himalayan treks. I've climbed more than 6,000 meter peaks. I have done 8,000 meter peaks. So this was a very gradual journey over the past 16 years. It's not that it has happened overnight कि मैंने decide किया चलो अब चढ़ना है, नहीं. It took time, you know, and I had that patience in me to allow it and learn from it. So I think that is what we teach them, and my experience on different mountains and how to, you know, go step by step and not rush and train hard for it, and somewhere or the other I keep on motivating them. Come on, you know, like let's go, let's train together at least, you know. That will help that person to at least keep on pushing, because we know we are occupied, because funds is also important. Suppose you are not having sponsors, तो वो fund आपको भी arrange करना है, तो उसके लिए काम करना पड़ेगा, day and night काम करना पड़ेगा, तब जाके वो amount, you know, earn कर पाएंगे and allot होगा climbing के लिए. So I tell them कि 2-3 साल लगाओ चलेगा, बट ट्रेनिंग आप रेगुलर करो. सो 2-3 साल बाद जब आपके फंड्स रेडी हो जाएंगे, एटलीस्ट यू आर नाउ प्रिपेयर्ड बोथ, लाइक यू नो, मॉनिटरी ऑल्सो एंड फिजिकली ऑल्सो एंड मेंटली ऑल्सो, कि भाई चलो अब क्लाइम करना है.
ओके, फेयर इनफ. सो व्हाट्स लाइफ बियॉन्ड माउंटेनियरिंग फॉर यू? हाल ही में आपकी शादी भी हुई है, मुझे लगा अभी तो लड़का सुधर जाएगा, पता चला अब ये अपने वाइफ के साथ ट्रैकिंग करते हैं.
Yeah, I think I gave my lifetime to the mountains, and that is what in return they give to me. So me and my wife, we met on a trek, and in Manali we were leading a group and she was a co-leader, and that is how we met. And after that we did 14-15 treks together, and mountains brought us very close. And she's a psychologist, so completely different from what I do, but she's very supportive. And I would say the moment she entered my life, things have changed, like lots of positivity, and she has been a support system. So yeah, things have changed.
नाम तो बताइए.
Her name is Krupa. Yeah, so that was my hashtag for the wedding. केवल पर कृपा हो गई. So, yeah, in a true sense. But yeah, and she understands me well. And you know, if there would have been somebody else, they would have been scared seeing like a half thumb or a half toe.
Show me a thumb.
Yeah. So
ये कहाँ पे हुआ था? थोड़ा कैमरा में दिखाइए.
So I was climbing in Ladakh winter में, Stoke Kangri. Winter is the harsh conditions, and then yeah, while coming down I got frostbitten and scenarios changed, and then yeah, I had to amputate little part, but it got amputated. And yeah, so seeing that, you know, she was the first person who said it's okay, happens, you know, it's all part and parcel, you tried your best to save it but you couldn't, so it's okay, be careful next time. So, and she makes sure that I'm careful every time. I had all my gear packed, I have like my climbing stuff in the right place, and yeah, it's been great. 1 year of marriage has been awesome. We have done lots of rock climbing together, we have done lots of trekking together, and hopefully we are planning to do some skiing together. So
superb. Yeah, all life goals are amazing. Keval, now we are going to wrap it up. I want you to look into the camera, and I want you to speak to the give them, you know, all the mountaineers who are watching you, all the people who would like to, you know, do something in this domain. I want you to give them one piece of advice which you have learned from your 16 years of experience. In the camera.
Guys, I would say that mountaineering is not something which is very easy. With times coming by, it is getting tougher and tougher. Like, you know, the monetary value is increasing and बहुत महंगा होते जा रहा है. एवरेस्ट आज सपोज 25 से 30 लाख है, तो आई एम वंडरिंग के, यू नो, आई रेड इट समवेयर इन द न्यूज़ के नेक्स्ट टाइम 35 से 40 लाख पहुंच जाएगा. एंड जब मैं भी, यू नो, स्पॉन्सर्स को अप्रोच करता हूँ, तो समटाइम्स डिसहार्टेंड हो जाता हूँ कि उतना नहीं हो पाता है, यू नो, पुश करने के बाद भी वगैरह. बट डोंट गिव अप, यू नो. अगर आप 8,000 मीटर्स प्लान कर रहे हैं और वो अभी नहीं हो पा रहा है, तो 6,000 मीटर्स क्लाइम करिए. उसको करने के लिए बहुत सारे वेज हैं, बहुत सारे माउंटेन्स हैं इंडिया में जो आप कम बजट में, आपके बजट में क्लाइम कर सकते हैं. ज़रूरी नहीं है लाखों रुपए खर्च करने. 40,000 50,000 के बजट में भी आप माउंटेन क्लाइम कर सकते हैं. एंड आई वुड डेफिनेटली लव टू हेल्प. सो वेन एवर, यू नो, you get an opportunity, do that, plan it well, and keep on trying. Don't give up. That is the best mantra, I would say, what I've learned, that never give up. You know, आज नहीं तो कल होगा ही होगा. No mountain is like, you know, कि ये नहीं हो सकता है, बट सिर्फ मे बी आज शायद एफर्ट थोड़ा कम लग गया, या फिर आज वो दिन नहीं था, आज नहीं तो कल हो जाएगा, बट वो होगा ज़रूर अगर आप ट्राई करते रहेंगे. सो मेरे केस में इट हैज़ वर्कड वेल, एंड टुडे आई एम स्टैंडिंग हियर आफ्टर क्लाइंबिंग 7,000-8,000 and I was lucky enough that I could accomplish most of them on my first attempts only. So that was like my goal, that to save money. Definitely I do not want to re-spend money, but I was very cautious and training in that manner, and I would further do the same thing. So never give up. Keep focusing and keep working hard, live a disciplined life, and you will reach your goals for sure. Your Everest might be something different, like not just being a mountaineer, but being in your normal day-to-day life, but all your Everests are possible to achieve. You need to just keep trying.
Wonderful. Well, that's all from our side. अगर आपको हमारा ये पॉडकास्ट, हमारा ये ब्लॉग पसंद आया हो तो प्लीज़ लाइक, सब्सक्राइब एंड शेयर दिस विथ योर फ्रेंड. इफ़ यू थिंक दैट इट्स हैज़ एडेड वैल्यू to your experience and your knowledge, please. Keval is a fantastic person, and if you think that he can be your mentor, well, he is very easily reachable. हम लोग यहीं मुंबई में रहते हैं. He stays in मुलुंड, मैं रहता हूँ कांदिवली. नहीं, पास में नहीं, बहुत दूर है.
दूर है.
बट कभी भी आपको अगर इनसे कनेक्ट करना है, he is also available on all the possible social media sites. Thank you Epilog for giving us this platform. Epilog के द्वारा हम यहाँ पे आते हैं, ये पॉडकास्ट लेके मैं आता हूँ. तो ये टोपी वाले को देखना भूलना मत, अभी हम वीडियोस कर रहे हैं. एंड इफ यू वांट टू लिसन टू दिस पॉडकास्ट, वी आर इजीली अवेलेबल ऑन Epilog, वी आर अवेलेबल ऑन Spotify, वी आर अवेलेबल ऑन गाना सावन एंड एप्पल पॉडकास्ट एज वेल. ओके, एंजॉय कीजिए, और अगर पसंद आया हो तो अपने दोस्तों के साथ ज़रूर शेयर कीजिएगा. बाय द वे, मैं भी सोशल मीडिया पे हूँ, सो इफ़ यू वांट टू फॉलो मी. मेरे बारे में कोई पूछ ही नहीं रहा है यार. थैंक यू सो मच. दिस इज रोहन साइनिंग ऑफ. टेक केयर. लव यू ऑल. बाय बाय.